you and I are both, and maybe many of the listeners, we're living a life of purpose. I don't I get out of the bed in the morning, not because I have things to do, but there's a commitment that I have, a difference that I want to make, whether I'm on a vacation, whether I'm working, it's all the same, which is staying true to my purpose. So
Mhm.
my health is second, because I know, like you said earlier, if I'm not healthy, it's going to be very challenging to live a life of purpose, because
Mhm.
my focus is going to be on where my aches and pains are, what pills do I have to take, all those things, other than what's my purpose and how do I stay true to it.
Well, it's so interesting is that, I want to get into this conversation of purpose. I also want to touch on operating system.
Right.
There's a fundamental philosophy that I know that you share, which is how I explain it is probably different, but I think the outcome is the same, which is we are the epicenter of our life. We
Yes.
are the center of our universe. And in that being of the center is that around us is our family, our businesses, our friends, or whatever our universe consists of. We're in the middle of it. We
That's
are the CEO of our life, if you want to say it that way, however you want to do it. But ultimately, being the epicenter is that in order for us to look after all of the things that we need to look after, we have to look after ourselves.
got it.
If the proverbial shit hits the fan because we're not staying healthy, or if we're not looking after ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, all of those things, we're no good to anybody. It is the classic case of put your oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
And this is kind of along that. Now, but part of what drives that whole thought process, I think, is that you need to have purpose. So let's dig into, what is, if you're the center of your universe and you're the center of your purpose, if you will, you're
Yeah.
driving the bus.
Yeah.
Uh, how do you describe that? How do you describe it?
Yeah. I I start from a different place, and I think I wind up in the same place that you are.
Hmm.
So where I start from is we're part of a whole,
Hmm.
rather than I'm the epicenter.
Got it.
We are part of a whole. The whole is called humanity, period. If
Hmm.
there wasn't humanity, you and I wouldn't be here.
It's true.
We are part of something called humanity,
Yeah.
and our lives can be about what are we going to get or what are we going to contribute,
Hmm.
period.
Hmm.
Now, I like the image of I'm a little bubble on this evolutionary wave, but my job is to be the best bubble I can be that's part of this evolutionary wave. And I consider you and I part of the same wave.
Hmm.
Really, we are part of the same, which is why we resonate and we recognize, you recognize people who are part of the same wave, whose roots are in the same soil. How
Hmm.
we're expressing may be different, but being, having, you mentioned operating system, being someone who's has an operating system of arrogance and self-importance, it's been important for me to create a different narrative than I'm the epicenter of the universe, but I'm part of something that's bigger than me, that was here before me, that will be here after I'm gone. And what's the contribution I'm going to make? Now,
Hmm.
in order to make that contribution, I need to be healthy, period. Yeah, I need to have my relationships be healthy. I need to have I need to be a demonstration of health.
You're right. You're right. So you come at it a slightly different way, but the result is pretty much the same. So it's
Mm,
but I love that perspective.
yeah,
That's what I love when I have these
yeah,
conversations with you, is the
yeah,
expansion of that perception. Now you touched on purpose. I
yeah,
mean, gosh, it's got to be one of the, most asked questions,
yeah,
or I don't know what my purpose is. I don't, and then I don't know what my passion is. And, like there's all these kind of phrases and words being used. Let's talk a little bit about it, because I know you do work in that
yeah.
space. When somebody says to you, Alan, I don't know my purpose, you got to help me.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
So I start with defining what a purpose is.
Hmm.
A- And, it's not the definition, it's a definition.
Hmm.
So a definition of purpose is like a mission statement, a direction, an impact, an outcome, a purpose. It's not a goal. So let me say what it's not. It's not a goal. It's not what you're going to do. It's the impact you're going to make.
Hmm.
End of story. Impact where? Everywhere you go. And it's the impact you're committed to making, even if you don't go there. The analogy that I like to use is you and I were invited to a party. And we were invited to the party because the organizers of the party wanted us to make a contribution to that party, to impact the quality of the party. So that party's going on right now. There's 8 billion people at it.
Hmm.
Why did they invite Alan to the party? Why did they invite Patrick? I
Hmm.
say why I'm invited to the party. And you get to say,
Hmm.
no one's going to tell you, here's your purpose. No, you get to say. So I said I was invited to the party because the organizers wanted all hearts to be full and all beings to be enlightened.
Hmm.
Full stop. So in every interaction with you, with my wife, with the folks at the coffee shop, on the airplane with my clients, am I staying true to that purpose? Am I leaving people with a better access to their hearts being full and to being enlightened?
Hmm. Here's where, okay, let me just be on the other side of that for a
Yeah,
minute, and I'm going to kind
please.
of go into it. And I do have an understanding of where you come from because we've worked together many times over
Yeah,
the years. But let me just kind of be the naive one here and ask the fundamental question. What you just said is, that's pretty big. Like, that's really profound. Like, I don't even know what that, I don't even know what that would mean for me.
yeah, yeah,
And so how do I get to that? Like, how do
yeah,
I, like, I'm now 40 years old.
yeah,
I've got 3 kids, a wife, I got a career. I'm going through the TikTok every freaking day. The stress is the shits, and my don't have enough money, and interest rates are going up.
yeah.
The world's coming to an end. How the hell am I supposed to have any other purpose but to survive and look after my family?
I love that you said it that way, Patrick, because that's what's there by default.
Hmm.
Our brain's job is to have us survive.
Hmm.
End of story. And it's working full time to do that, looking out for threats, coming up with strategies, avoiding things, going towards other things. So our brains do not care if we're fulfilled or if we're happy unless they've been retrained.
Hmm.
By default, our brains want to keep us alive.
Hmm.
So our brains in the morning, the first thing our brain thinks of is, what do I have to do today? Not who am I going to be today? But what do I have to do today? Which is why most people are tired at the end of the day, because all they were doing was doing
Hmm.
things. They weren't being something. So, how to find your purpose is when you interact with somebody and you're inspired by the impact you had on them, what is that impact? Or if you have 3 kids, what is it that you really want for your kids? And people will start, well, I want them to have good jobs. I want them to be healthy. Good. But what's the experience you want your children to be living inside of for the rest of their lives? Oh, well, I want them to be grateful and
Hmm.
connected. Okay. So maybe your purpose is people are great living in gratitude and being connected to others. So what is it that inspires you when you have that impact on another? That's one of the simple ways to have people find their purpose in just a short conversation.
So when we talk about our purpose, so for example, when you look at your purpose, somebody could say, what's the expectation? So in other words, what are you getting in return? What's in it for you? What's in it for you?
Oh yeah,
And you
yeah,
know, when we look at purpose, from my definition of it, is we're living our purpose. We're just being true to ourselves without an expectation around it, and it's because we're living true to who we are. What lights us up? What where our heart takes us, where our soul takes us, our spirit. It isn't about, okay, well, now you owe me. But can you Can you expand on that a little
You
bit? I'm probably not
just
doing a
said
great
it,
job.
you just said it better than I would have said it.
Okay.
When you're living true to your purpose, you disappear. You disappear inside of your purpose. Life becomes an opportunity to fulfill on you, to get better and better and better. And by better and better and better, what I mean is more reliable for staying true.
Mm-hmm.
So the game I'm playing with my life is to be reliable for living true to my purpose 24/7, even in my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And why I put even in my dreams in there is because I like big games.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't know that I can achieve that ever, that's something to strive towards, to
Mm-hmm.
stay reliable. When people are threatening me, to stay reliable to my purpose. When I've just produced an amazing failure, to stay reliable to my purpose, true to my, when I've just produced a great success and I'm getting all this acknowledgement, good, stay reliable, stay true to my purpose. So that's the direction. And I like looking at purpose also, Patrick, as a direction. I used to call it, I think when we first met, your true north.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like that anymore because, if you keep going north, eventually you start going south. So I call it my true east. It's got that wisdom in the east and the orient and all. So you can keep going east forever.
Mm-hmm.
You never run out of east. You do run out of north.
Mm-hmm.
So, in every interaction, was I going east? Was I going northeast? Was I going west? Was I standing still? So, in every interaction, I can say, was I true to my purpose or not? And if I wasn't, what do I need to do to true it up?
Is it fair, Alan, to say that purpose is not about you?
Yes, it's
It's
about the
about
contribution.
the contribution that you're being. Now, what gets in the way?
Can I just put
Please do.
one? Yeah. By the way, it's the same work I do with large companies and
Mm-hmm.
medium-sized companies. Is I don't if their reason for being in existence is to make a profit, it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
If their reason for being in existence is to serve the customers, serve the community, serve the shareholders, have the employees feel like it's the best place they've ever worked, don't destroy the environment while they're doing it, be a contribution, then the company's much more likely to be successful if they have a useful service or product that they're offering. Much more likely.